Okay, we'll get started. We'd like to welcome Cameron Young into the interview room, our 2025 Wyndham Championship winner. He is our 1,000th unique winner on the PGA Tour, with 23 of those coming here, and he's the fourth Wake Forest alumnus to win this tournament. Cameron, I know it was a long road for you to finally get into the winner's circle. How good does it feel?
It feels great. Like you said, it feels like a long time coming. I felt like for, the first year and a half that I was out here, I had a chance to win, every third week it felt like. And they've been a bit more few and far between. But to have a chance like this today, I was not going to let it get away from me, and I'm thankful that I didn't.
A slip up there on the first, but then five straight. Just talk a little bit about the streak you got on there. It was your second stretch this week with 5 birdies in a row.
Yeah. I played the front 9 really, really well this week. I think I was probably close to 20 under on the front. So I just knew that there were opportunities, and obviously number 1 was a little messy, but then I kind of got to work, and nice to see, all those putts go in. Obviously on another day, maybe not all of them go in, but I was rolling it great, and nice to see a bunch of them in a row find the bottom.
And before we open it up to questions, you move up to number 16 in the FedEx Cup. I know that opens up a whole new list of opportunities here over these next few weeks. Talk a little bit about it as the playoffs get started next week.
Yeah. Going into the Truist this year, the first week of May, I think I was 83rd. So that was not a great spot to be. And, there's thoughts in the back of your mind like, what if I finish 104th? So, I kind of told myself that I can't let that happen, and I've played some different golf since then. So, yeah, to be back kind of where I feel like I should be, I've got a great opportunity to make it to Eastlake, and I think a great opportunity to make a Ryder Cup team. So those are the 2 things I want to do.
All right, awesome. We'll start with Shane right here.
Congratulations, first off. You talked about finishing second a number of times, but none of them were incredibly clear-cut opportunities.
Yeah.
This one was. And so I guess my first question is, what was it like last night and this morning? I have to imagine those are some pretty long hours.
Yeah, honestly, last night was no problem. It just we were out here early. We had to play 3 holes and then come back and play a whole round of golf. And by the time I got home, it was dinner, bed. So I really had no issue. This morning I was a little bit more nervous than I expected, but kind of just, did my usual stuff. And I was a little bit nervous starting out, and then by the time I made the second or third birdie, I was just ready to get it done.
You might have just answered my next question, but there's watching on the TV, I was like, you seemed maybe a little nervous on late when it was obviously very clear cut that you were going to win, and I was wondering if there was some part of you that was sensing the finish line. It might still have felt a little tension. Yeah,
I wasn't nervous at all. Those last bunch, I just kind of at that point had my foot off the gas, and frankly, I knew that I could make a couple bogeys, and it was just a matter of not hitting anywhere that I could possibly make a double, which I didn't want to play that way, but at some point, I wanted to win by 12, and at some point there's something more important than that probably, and, with 4 holes to go and an 8-shot lead or whatever it was at the time, I was just trying to get it done, and, even though I had a couple putts for par, it was like the least stressful few holes probably of my career.
Let's go Helen and then Ron.
First of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions. One, after you won, it looked like you said, "What do I do? I've never done this before."
Yeah.
Did you say that?
Yeah, well, there were all of a sudden every time I've come off the green my entire career, I have shaken the hands of whoever I've played with, thanked the standard bearer and, our walking scorer, and then walked through the tunnel to scoring. And today there were about 150 people between me and that tunnel. So at that point I got confused, and I didn't know if I did that first or if I spoke to somebody first. So yeah, that's the first time that I've really done anything any different after holing out on 18. So I would prefer that outcome more often.
Secondly, what did it mean to have your dad here?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, he doesn't miss much. He's essential to me doing what I do. He does a lot of background stuff for me. He sets up a lot of stuff for me. He kind of takes care of little things, and on top of that, coaches me. So he's a great resource to have on the road, both, as a friend and a coach and a father. He plays a lot of roles for me. So he just walked in the room. Nice to have him here, and glad he watched some better golf than I've played in a while.
All right, let's go Ron and then Adam.
Congrats. I'm sure you've answered this too many times, but how much of a burden or weight had the runner-up thing become, and how did you make peace with it, or had you made peace? So,
Yeah. No, I think there's always some, but it's not in the sense of it's not like a burden that I hadn't won. It just is something that I haven't done and I'd like to. And at times it hurts to have played some really good golf and not had that happen. But in all those cases, there were really no times that I had it in my hands and lost. So it's different, I think, than having a burden. It wasn't really like that. It was more just, when is it going to be my time here? And because it just felt like a lot of those tournaments weren't. I think I answered a question. I think I answered basically that question at the PGA Championship in 2022. Somebody asked me something similar. When are you going to win something? And I said, well, I don't know. I mean, I played pretty well today. I'm sure one of these times I'll be right there and I'll shoot 31 on the back nine and win. And I went to the British Open and shot 31 on the back nine and lost by 1. So to someone that shot 30, it wasn't like I was coming way back or anything. Like I was right there and shot 5 under and lost. So, or got beat rather. So not a burden in the traditional sense. Today was a different situation than I've ever been in. And, it was our goal today to come out and see how many I could win by if I stuck to our plan. And about halfway through the round, my brain just said, let's make some pars. So I was trying to aim at stuff, and I honestly I think the mind is powerful, and it was just taking me, towards the middle of greens. And I would have liked to hit some better shots, but, got it done and happy to have done it.
Let's go Adam and then Jeff and Jenny.
Yeah, kind of following up on that, you said last night that a couple of years ago you were frustrated about the not winning. What changed? How did you get out of that mindset?
I started playing worse, and the good finishes were less frequent, and I became happier about those good finishes, I think. I just was more thankful for those opportunities. And obviously, there's always some frustration when you don't win if you've felt like you had a chance. But I kind of took for granted there for a minute that I was just going to have a chance to win a lot, and that doesn't have to be the case all the time. So I think through that, I feel like I struggled through the last year and a half or so, up until the second half of this season. So I think it's just recognizing that at that point it just felt easy, and recognizing that it's not always easy, and I need to appreciate the opportunities I'm given. So, in that vein, I'm thankful that I had the one I had today, and very, very thankful to have gotten it done.
I asked you yesterday about your putting, but I looked up the numbers, and you were 145 in strokes gained putting last year. You're 10 this year. You were number 1 this week. Is there anything specific that you point to for the improvement?
I mean, I think it's been years of understanding that just setup dictates a lot. And I think we've finally just narrowed into a pattern that works. And it allows me to mechanically do the things that we want and also feel good. So it's just a lot of setup work. It's not rocket science. It's a lot of short putting practice and a lot of setup.
All right, we'll wrap right here in the middle.
Congratulations. Obviously, the first win is going to be special anywhere, but
Yeah.
just wondering if there was anything more special about doing it with the Wake fans and on this golf course.
Yeah, I mean, it's great having some extra fans out there. It's you know, there's a couple places a year where I feel like I get some additional support, and this is probably the biggest one. So, you know, anytime we get up in the Northeast, I have a kind of the New York crowd, but this week to have the Wake crowd out there was a lot of fun. It's a place I really enjoyed. I love this part of the country in North Carolina, and yeah, nice to have some extra support out there.
Well, Cameron, we couldn't be happier for you. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate
Thanks.
that.
Yep.
Thanks, John.